Welcome back. We're ready for part 3, and this is where we'll copy the brace and get them both set inside the stool and ready for the top piece. So let's get this orbited around to where I can kind of see what's going on. And the first thing I could do a couple different ways, but let's go ahead and copy and move this piece over to the end. So we'll pick the move copy tool, and this is already selected. The brace piece is selected. Control C copies, and we can just then copy and bring that out to the edge. Here we are, and we're locked in place at the edge. So we have our two pieces now locked in place. So what I can do is I can now move this piece, select, I'm sorry. We'll get that moved back into place. And once again, this is one of the things that happens a lot in SketchUp, and I pushed the escape key actually, and it got me out of trouble. And I just want to double check to make sure my edge is in good shape there. Yes, the brace piece is set against the edge and locked in there, so that's a good thing. So let's go ahead then and use the move tool, and we'll just move that. Let's go to the end, and we'll move that in 0.5 inches. So 0.5 in, and then we'll grab this one. We'll move this one. Whoops, I'm sorry, that one was selected. So I'll undo that last thing I just did. I'm going to press escape. Then I'm going to come over here and pick this one, so I make sure that's selected. So now I'll move this in. I'm having a heck of a time here moving things. Control Z. There we are. I'm on my endpoint, and I can move that in, and I'll move that in a half an inch or 0.5. So you see a half an inch sitting there. I can mark this 0.5 also, so that's all set. So our braces are now all in place. Now, since we have time left on this video, let's go ahead and orbit around a little bit and get our layer set for the top and get a start on that top piece. So what we'll do is we're going to add a new layer, and that new layer is going to be called top. And make sure, doubly sure, and I've made this mistake many times, make sure you pick that layer that you're working on. We're going to draw a rectangle up on top of that layer, and that rectangle is going to be 14 by 9, and there's our rectangle. Now I'm going to pan that again so I can see the top of that. And before we pull this up, we're actually going to cut our hole in this first. It just seems to work out a little bit better. So I'm going to lay out some corners with the tape measure, just like you would if we were looking for the center of our rectangle for the top of the stool. And then I'm going to lay out some lines. And notice I get a nice straight line there, so it kind of locks in place. And that's at 2 inches. Then I'll do another line at 2 inches. And then I'll do some circles on the end, just like we are drilling them in with the drill press. So let's go 3/4, and I can do 3/4 like that. You see or I can do 0.75 like this. Either option is fine. Let's go ahead and orbit that where I can see that again. And what I want to do is make sure I find an endpoint. I'm going to draw a straight line from endpoint to endpoint here. Straight line from endpoint to endpoint. Make sure you do that so we get a solid plane there. Then with the select tool, I'm going to select the half circle on the inside, the half circle on the inside there. So now what I've done is I've actually made a separate plane there, and I actually can just select that and delete it. I didn't even need the push-pull tool. I just deleted and cut that out. So what I'm going to do is rotate this back and lift this up and use the push-pull tool and just bring it up 0.5 inches. And in the next video, we'll round it off, and I'll explain why I went with 0.5 instead of 0.75.